Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on the Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is stretching out of our comfort zone into our potentials, into greater fulfillment and a deeper expression. So before we get started on what I hope to be an interesting conversation, let's take a minute or two to get present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light, lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together. Vigorously rub your hands together to feel the friction, the temperature, the pressure, the motion, the tickling and tingling when you stop. And allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning. Good morning, Rosalind. And it's so great to have you here with us this morning. And welcome to everybody else who's joining us. Great to be here with you. Today, we're talking about stretching and coming up against that edge of discomfort when you're being called to expand beyond that comfort zone, to step into new potentials, into the unknown, into the unfamiliar, facing your fears, allowing them to be, and also not allowing them to stop you when you know that moving forward is the best thing for you. So it's very interesting. This is sort of a personal thing that I'm experiencing at this moment. So I figured I'm not the only one experiencing some trepidation about stepping into the unknown. And we can press ourselves to be doing this with regularity rather than getting complacent. There's a way where we can stretch ourselves that is really vitalizing. And it's been coming up for me in several different areas lately, so I get to share that with you, and hopefully we can muster our courage together to step into greater aliveness. So dreaming a dream is one thing, right? Dreaming a dream and having a vision about something can be very enlivening and enriching and fulfilling, to a point, because dreaming the dream is not the same as acting on the dream, right? So it's when we take our inspired dreams into action that we're really on the edge of that creativity and that potential. And it's on the edges. And this is actually a permaculture concept. It's on the edges that the potentials are most fertile, because there's this transition point, this liminal space from one space to another. And it's interesting because these transitions are not necessarily linear. They're often kinds of quantum transitions. where we actually make a jump from one state to another. We prepare, or not. But then there's this jump, and it's kind of this leap of faith in its way into a space of the unknown, where we're up against the limitations that we've established for ourselves. And um, so most recently, and maybe, you might find this funny, but I I was very intimidated I decided to get an e-bike because it's very hilly around where I live, and I want to be able to get around. I want to be able to be outside more and exercise and explore and be in nature and all of that good stuff. And typically, to get anywhere, I have to drive there. And if I were to bicycle, the hills are so um, big that I never got the opportunity to actually build up stamina to be able to ride ride my bike very much. So anyway, I decided to buy an electric bike, and I had never ridden one, and it was all very intimidating buying the right one, not knowing much about bicycles and less about electric bicycles. Anyway, so I bought one. And then oh, and there were all these questions like, is it going to fit where I need to put it inside? Am I going to be able, because it's heavy, it's like 65 pounds before adding anything to it. Am I going to be able to get it up the steps to put it where I need to put it? And all these questions that could have been stopping points for me. And maybe they don't seem like much in the way of obstacles, but they were working on me. Like I was experiencing, I'm going to have to manage this somehow. And and it's a folding bike too. So, there's lots of different parts, and charging the battery and putting the right pressure in the tires and having the right equipment and the right riding gear, and it's winter time. And I mean, like all these excuses and obstacles that I could have bowed to. And instead I just dove in with intention. And as it's turned out, it's kind of awesome. I'm able to get the bike up the steps. It's not easy, but I'm able to do it, and I'm able to fold it up, and it fits in the place where it needs to fit, which is awesome. And then I was riding it, and that's a whole other that's a whole other thing, is developing the skill in riding and learning how to maneuver the speeds and the gears and the electric and all the stuff. So I was riding, and the wind is wishing by, and I'm enjoying this. So far I've only ridden it twice, but it, I'm getting everything put together so that I'm going to be doing this more often for sure. Anyway, so I'm riding down the street and I'm hearing the wind, and I realize I can't hear a car. And so now I need to get mirrors, and I wanted to get a basket, and I wanted to mount the locks on it and all these things. So I took it to the bike shop. Well, the whole thing about getting it to the bike shop was I have to lift it into the car. Am I going to be able to get it into the car? So it's so interesting to me that we find all these ways to challenge ourselves and then worry ourselves, right? So here are these things. I don't know if I can, and I'm committed to having it work one way or another. I get the thing into the car, I get it to the bike shop. They do all the extras. Now it weighs more. So I have to get it out of the car. I have to get it back into where it belongs. And the thing is that I did it. I was intimidated by it. I noticed my resistance. Hello, Star. Welcome. So wonderful, wonderful to have you here joining us from Utah at such an early hour. That's wonderful. Thank you for being here with us. So we're talking about stretching. So this is a little stretch, right? In a way. But really, the stretch for me was making not just all the mechanics of this bicycle thing, but making a commitment to be really engaging in cycling, like taking that on, that this is something that is going to be part of my routine. My intention is to be able to ride it to go get groceries and do local traveling around this my basic neighborhood, as well as to go trail riding and all kinds of other things. So the intimidating piece, the most intimidating piece, was making that commitment to be riding a bicycle on a regular basis, to be using this as a form of transportation and exercise. It's not going to replace my car, but in some instances, hopefully it will. So, and then working up to being able to have the confidence to do those kinds of things with it. So it was a leap of faith, a commitment, faith in myself to be able to make that choice. And I'm sure that all of us, thank you, Star. Star says, brava. Thank you. But I am quite certain that this is just an example that I'm hoping you can relate to in your own life, where there are things that you desire or you dream of, and there's all kinds of excuses and resistance and reasons to not move forward, ways that you just allow yourself to be in the dream rather than implementing the dream. And I have to say that there's a sense of triumph and strength and accomplishment when we have these when we overcome our internal demons, right? When we allow ourselves to move beyond them. So courage is not being fearless. That's not what courage is. Courage is being willing to moving ahead, even though there's fear, right? And so when we engage courageously in life, we expand our opportunities for fuller and fuller expression. So Star says, totally, 72 years young here, still hiking and healthy, mostly, LOL. Wow, Star, that is so awesome. Yay. You're an inspiration. You're an inspiration. Thank you. So taking on new things especially as we get older, can become more and more intimidating, right? Because we're used to being able to do things well from the start, right? We forget the learning curve. I taught adult learners in software, Adobe software, graphics software, for 18 years. And I can tell you with certainty that adults have this thing about stumbling their way forward. Like we want to just be able to be triumphant and be able to do it just like that. And we forget that in learning to walk, we fell down a bunch of times first. And so this fear of failure comes very much from the way that we contextualize failure, like it's a bad thing, instead, and like we've failed, instead of we're in a learning curve. I believe they said Edison found I don't know, hundreds, if not 1,000 ways to not create a light bulb that worked. And so there was what could have been considered failure after failure after failure. But it could also have been considered refinement after refinement after refinement. So Star says, yes, chills of recognition. It's a unique phase of life for sure. Well, I can say that this fear of failure actually is part of pretty much every stage of life, except when you're a little kid, probably, because the little kid doesn't know about doing it right. They're just trying to do it, right? They're going to figure out how to do it. And there's that movement toward, instead of the resistance that we as adults can experience and conjure for ourselves. So the other thing that is testing my courage is, if any of you who've been around here for a while, I have been talking about this course that I'm creating, and it's a course on enough, and it's sort of focused around money, but that's not, money is more a symptom than a cause in this context. Anyway, so I am committed to doing this, and I notice that I have a lot of resistance on so many different levels about it, about high visibility, which is really interesting too. I mean, given here we are every weekday morning, we're talking, and it's a public venue, and the truth is that I don't believe that many people see this stuff. And when I get feedback from folks who do or have seen it, it always shocks me. I have to say, because Rosalind, thank you to you. You are my rock. You're here on a daily basis, which is remarkable. And then every now and then we get the blessing of other people like you, Star, popping in and joining us, and some other wonderful kind of regulars who join us as well. So, but it's a very small group, an intimate group. But it's funny to talk about being in an intimate group here on Facebook. But that's that's how it feels to me. And the thought of thousands or tens of thousands or whatever, even hundreds of people seeing this is kind of intimidating to me, frankly. So Rosalind says, I see you. Thank you for these daily musings and thinking of new ways of being. Thank you, Rosalind. So anyway, I spoke to an organization yesterday who that assists people in building their audience. And I'm considering taking this plunge, and it's so wild to notice how these different levels of fear and anxiety come up. Now, this is a dream for me, right? I'm committed to it, and I've been dancing around it for a long time. And it's time. It's time to make it happen. And it requires not only a financial commitment from me to engage this group, but it also it's going to hold my feet to the fire in a way that if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't. I would probably manage to procrastinate even longer. So taking these steps into our uncomfortable zone, into the unknown, into our fear, rather than avoiding it, to step into that is terrifying, perhaps. And that terror is also incredibly vitalizing. Uh, we can often become paralyzed by fear, but in this case, what we're talking about is being energized. There's a very, very narrow uh, difference between fear and excitement. And uh, it's like this tightrope, and I feel like myself flopping back and forth between the two. And I'm imagining that you too have had those experiences, and I deeply encourage you to allow yourself to step into whatever that is. That's where life happens. That's where real aliveness happens, where we can get really engaged. And it, it's been enlightening for me to recognize all these different things that are coming up. The visibility thing, the self, like self assurance kind of thing. Is this something that I can do? I know it's something I can do. There's a part of me that's like, I never did that before. I don't know how to, and all of that conversation, to be able to notice the conversation and to not believe it, to not get sucked into all the reasons why we shouldn't do the things that we are really called into doing. And one of the things that is exceedingly powerful in supporting us in taking on those kinds of objectives or those kinds of dreams is to have a bigger why. So for me, building my audience personally, it's not a personal need for me. Like I don't particularly love the limelight. Some people do, but years ago, I remember someone who introduced me and said she's really bad at self-promotion because I'm not interested in the limelight. However, what I am interested in is making a difference. What I am interested in is elevating consciousness, and that's the service that I do. That's where I come from, is to have us all rise in our consciousness collectively. And so when I am able to connect to that greater why, that then helps to generate the courage that is called for. And I invite you to try that on with the dreams that you have. Like, what's your bigger why? And how can that mobilize you? How can that inspire you? How can that fortify you so that you have the ability to be courageous in the face of whatever the fears are around that dream? Because one of my working hypotheses is that it's our dreams that we came here to fulfill, that is our service to life, that as we connect most deeply to the authentic yearnings of our heart and act in accordance with those yearnings, that is us fulfilling the reason we came here for. And you might not think we came here for a reason, and that's okay too. These are just my hypotheses. Try it on. Having a sense of meaning, we make our own meaning. And to have a sense of purpose and meaning is one of the greatest gifts I've ever had in my life. I remember growing up feeling like, what am I doing here? what is this about? Really feeling quite alien. And I would just pray, plead, just let me know what I'm here to do and I'll do it. And then I think what happened is I deliberately sought to recognize my purpose. And it's always been my deepest passion has always been consciousness. And then what is the nature of consciousness? How do we raise consciousness? What is this beingness that we're doing here, or that we're being here? You get the picture. So, so finding that sense of why gives us the strength, and it is a source of courage for us to be able to move into the fulfillment of our dreams. It's not selfish to pursue your dream in your deepest heart. That is the expression. Usually this dream is a dream that is scary. It's a scary dream to dream. But that's the one, or those are the ones that let you know that you're on track, because it's calling you to stretch beyond our self-imposed and culturally imposed limitations. So what we need to do is we need to, in fulfillment of those dreams, we need to rise to become our greater selves in order to fulfill that dream. And there's no limit to that rising. As we rise, our capabilities then expand, and our potentials, our unexplored and unexpressed potentials also expand. So Star says, thank you. We sure need all the light workers like yourself. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Rosalind says, walk, run, and then dance. So beautiful. I love it. And maybe not wait to dance. Maybe we can start out by dancing and then learn to walk and run. I don't know. I kind of love that idea. Anyway, that's it for this morning. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection. And I go live here each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel. And I invite you to check out the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Network and Enlightened World Living. And I deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate the opportunity to commune with you these mornings with these musings and to explore ways of being and what it is to be human. So, and beyond. So until next